We're in California, actually on the Central California coast, just to show off the fact that one of the most amazing places to go as a driver is right here in the US. In fact, we're shooting this really late in the year. At this point, Utah, where we're based, is covered in snow, and I'm out here in a t-shirt on a 65-degree day on Pacific Coast Highway. Doesn't really matter what you bring. We wanted to bring something classically American, and there's few things more classically American than the Corvette.
We've driven the Z51 C7 Corvette. We loved that car. And now coming to this, which is the Z06 Carbon 65 edition, available in ceramic matrix gray for the 2018 model year, with $15,000 worth of carbon fiber bits and bobs screwed to the car that push it up about $100,000. A monster when you look at the stats.
The capability of this car means that it's far more capable than anything you're going to need on a road. In order to get even a sense of what it really can do, you have to go to a racetrack. Luckily, this area, Big Sur, California, just south of Monterey and Carmel, happens to be pretty close to one of the US's best racetracks. That's Laguna Seca.
And thanks to our friends at GM who have let us track this car, which you will see soon on Laguna Seca, and also drive just like this. It's pretty special.
The car you drive every day should be fun, but it has to do the boring stuff too, like commute, be affordable, and haul your groceries.
You can have both, and we'll help you find it. Fun to drive cars and great driving experiences for everyone. On Everyday Driver.
Brought to you by Covercraft. This is actually not just a Z06, this is the limited edition Carbon 65. They're only going to make 650 of them. I'm kind of surprised there even is a press car. For that you get, guess what, lots of extra carbon, some really nice Alcantara, blue stitching, blue calipers, a lot of graphics. There's no performance upgrades to this at all. Now, I have a lot of trouble justifying a number with a comma in it when there's no performance upgrades, but it will be limited edition and it does look very cool.
I've talked about the styling before. This was a bit controversial because the rear taillights were not circular. They weren't even oval. And now this car has been on the market for a while. And the more I see it, the more I really like it. Has it grown on you too? Has this styling actually become beautiful and interesting and relevant and actually long-lasting?
This Carbon edition has gotten rid of the main panel in the interior I never liked on the C7. It's replaced it with a carbon fiber piece. So of course that classes up the joint. It is still a little bit of an odd molded piece, but you know what? This interior is such a leap ahead of any Corvette prior. It really is competitive. Is it a $100,000 car? I don't know that it is, but that's the thing. You can get a great Corvette C7 for a lot less than that, and then it is one of the best values on the market.
There's a lot of trunk space. I'm surprised by the driving position, I'm surprised how good the seats are, and I shouldn't be anymore. If it's cheaper materials, but it feels well engineered and well built and well designed, I would rather that than expensive materials that don't fit so well together or the stitching's wrong. Yeah, you could argue there's better interiors, which there are, but it's doing what the Corvette has always done well. So much for your money, and even with $15,000 worth of carbon fiber attached to this car, it's still a good value. It feels very expensive. It's at the point where you get the acceleration and you're throwing the car hard into the turn when the Z06 really comes to life. I'm looking forward to the track time in this car.
Honestly, any car you bring on this, you're probably going to enjoy this drive. I mean, it really is one of those amazing places where man has put a road somewhere it shouldn't be, as evidenced by the fact that every single year they lose sections of it to landslides. They're slowly losing the war to have this road here at all. Driving Pacific Coast Highway is almost the world's best road tease because you realize that it's kind of a perfect driving road, but you're only getting to sample it at any kind of speed in little tiny stretches. Oh, I got a half mile here. Oh, I got another half mile there. That's about the only way you get to experience this road at its best. The rest of it is you're fighting with the slow-moving person in front of you. That's just life. It's a great road. Everybody wants to drive it. When you're in a car that is as powerful as this is, 650 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque, this is a blistering fast car, honestly made for the track. That could get annoying. So what you have to do is just take a deep breath and embrace the rest of humanity, look out at the beauty, and just be. Also, don't buy gas. It's twice as expensive here as it is anywhere else.
I'm asking myself this question, having this car here. Is it suitable for this road? Is it too much? I mean, I'm wondering about it on the track, but is it too much for a windy, canyon, twisting highway road like this? I mean, when you get a straightaway like this and you nail it, oh, wow. Yeah, it does that. Yes, we love small, beautiful, nimble cars, but the muscle feel, like somebody punched you in the arm as hard as they could. It's a wake-up call. It's a feel. There's something to it that's never going to go away. We're always going to love this. The power, to begin with, is stunning. But then I come to the handling, and the way this car holds itself to the road and is so glued down. That's by virtue of this chassis. The way the car is built and the way it is, it corners like a monster.
Whatever the speed limit is for a corner, those recommendations are for other people. In this car, you can absolutely destroy whatever the posted speed limit is, and the car really won't be trying hard yet. This car has GM's Great Magnetic Ride. You've got all of these different settings. I'm in Sport right now. You could have gone with Tour or Track or even Weather. I did that in the rain. It was very helpful. This is one of those cars we drive where it's clear that you need a track and a lot of skill to extract everything it can do. Now that means on the road, you're barely going to be touching its capability. Even if it opens up, you're still not going to be running it anywhere within the car breathing hard. That was insane! No one should be able to pass like that. That's not power that mortals should wield. That's ridiculous. I love it. I love it because I'm a child. And we're going slow again. See, that's what I'm saying. You just, those little stolen moments where it's amazing and it's everything you want the road to be, and then you're sitting going 40 again.
The personality of the Corvette, especially the Z06, is way down in here waiting to be released. It's perfectly happy to cruise along, and I think that's why there's so many Corvette owners that do that in the third lane at 50 miles an hour in sixth gear, just cruising along happily, which you can do. There's not a whole lot of feedback in the wheel, though. It's sharp in terms of diving into a corner immediately and tracking through and being very precise with its movements, the body movements of the car. It's shockingly agile, but it's not giving me a lot of information about the back end of the car. It's only when the rear starts to come around, or I know I'm gonna mash the throttle, that I know and I understand what this car is doing. It's at the point where you get the acceleration and you're throwing the car hard into the turn when the Z06 really comes to life. I'm looking forward to the track time in this car.
Honestly, Chevrolet's done something kind of amazing with this car, because 7 speeds is a little bit absurd until you find yourself doing 75 miles an hour on the freeway at about 1,400 RPM. In spite of this massive 6.2 liter V8 up here, you can get 30 miles to the gallon with a highway cruise. The more I drive this car, the more I just think about how versatile it is. It is a car with a good-sized hatch. It's actually got a good amount of room, granted for only 2 people. You could get all of your normal life done in this car. And then, when you're at a track, you can just take care of everybody.
Rarely do I want to drive the fast car slow. I want to drive the big boy on this track and test my limits. Turn 9. I love you and I hate you all at once.
There's so much speed there that I'm not using yet. The Corvette Z06 is one of the fastest cars ever around Laguna Seca. That's one of the things that you find really daunting when you pull into Laguna Seca to realize I'm on one of the fastest cars to ever drive around here, and I'm not going to get close to touching what it can do.
Rarely do I want to drive the fast car slow. I want to drive the big boy on this track and test my limits. Because this is a press car, Chevy cleared everything out of the trunk, so we don't have a tow hook, which means there's no going off the track.
This track is really easy access from a spectator standpoint. There's a lot of places to watch. That makes it pretty cool. But if you get a chance to drive it, I honestly don't care what you drive it in. It's so unique. There's some really cool corners on this track.
And down into the corkscrew. This is so famous. Oh, coming out of the corkscrew into turn 9. Oh, turn 9. I love you and I hate you all at once.
There's so much speed there that I'm not using yet. If you don't get the chance to drive this track, if you're a car person, you have to at least come see it because it is such a legendary place. Bye guys, bye-bye.
It's a little strange to be one of the big dogs on track, but that's only by virtue of 650 pound-feet of torque. And with this power and this amount of torque, you can just squeeze the throttle and you're past people. See, now is when you start to push your personal limits, and that's not what I want. I'm still here to just have fun, enjoy, bring the car back just fine. But practice. Track time, baby, track time. Yeah, it's a drug. And the faster I go, the better it gets. I'm getting happier and the session is getting better the faster I go. But that's the biggest thing. I've got to just trust the car. Oh, I'm loving this. How can you not? If you've never done a track day at Laguna Seca, this should be on your list, everyone.
All right, now let's see if we can get some room to run. Come on, big girl, come on, big girl. Yeah, 120 feels okay right through there. Carbon ceramic brakes are my friend. That's right, it's got me singing now. Carbon brakes are awesome. Wow, God, that's a fun corner. I think 2 is my favorite. I think turn 2 is my favorite on the whole track. Corkscrew's fun, don't get me wrong, it's very unique, but turn 2 just feels amazing. Trust the car, Todd, trust the car, tons of grip.
Oh, these brakes. Oh, everyone should have these brakes on their car. Okay, I have to admit, it is kind of fun to be the big dog and go chew on people. I am astonished at the things this car can do. I'm not even using 3/4 of its capabilities. You know, before we came on this trip, I was seriously wondering if the Z06 was the right car for what we're doing. And despite being too loud for the track between turns 5 and 6, I'm convinced that it is. You can't see my stupid grin. I'm just smiling.
So in summary, if you've been asleep for the last 10 minutes of the show, if you get a chance to get on Laguna Seca, I don't care what you bring. Okay, get out here. This track day we're doing right now, not that expensive, $200. I mean, you can do them for really expensive. Whatever you're driving, let's go to the track, shall we? This is a great one. A lot of racetracks are in terrible parts of the country. This is a gorgeous part of the country. Everywhere you drive when you get off this track is beautiful. And that's also the reason that they have the big sound restriction, is because there's a really nice house none of us can afford like 2 minutes from here.
Drive on a track and drive on the edge of a continent. You do have to ask yourself, what else would I rather be doing? Does it get better than this?
We've had adventures to some amazing places. We take trips, we take people every year to Germany and Belgium to drive on the Ring and Spa, and yet it is amazing to think that right here in the US are these two unbelievable experiences. Laguna Seca is a fairly accessible track. It's not, as track days go, all that expensive. You can find a lot of car groups that are renting the track for the day. You can get on Laguna for the whole day for a couple $100s. That's pretty amazing. While you're out here, you have to figure out a way to drive Pacific Coast Highway. It is an unbelievable stretch of road. Now you have to prepare yourself. You're not going to have the most amazing high-speed drive ever because, well, everybody else knows it's a great road to drive too. You have everything from people that really want to drive to folks driving a camper that are terrified of driving a camper. You're going to spend a lot of your time, unfortunately, doing this. You're going to sit here behind a line of traffic that is oblivious to the fact that there's anyone behind them as they gawk out the window at 20 miles an hour. It has a sign that says slow vehicles must turn out. Do they? No. Hopefully you can get a few corners at speed, but it really doesn't matter. Drive whatever you can on Pacific Coast Highway because the beauty of it and the experience of it is what it's about. The nice thing about going slow on this road, I do have to say, is you do get to look around a lot more. When you're going quickly, you better be concentrating. When you're going slow, you get to look around and realize, how am I driving on a road like this?
In 4th grade, I was into cars like you wouldn't believe. I mean, that's where it started. If you had told me then that I would be driving one of the hottest cars in the market today on PCH in California, it would have been hard to soak in. You could have just about any car in California to take to the track and then take down a windy, beautiful road like this. However, I feel like this is a car setting a benchmark standard now for decades in the future when car collectors fondly look back at how raw cars could be and how much emotion they could have. Because if where we're going is all autonomy and all electric, what does that do to manual transmission, high horsepower, gas-only cars? Listen to that. Okay, now we're breaking through the clear. Now we've got a view out here. This is stunning.
California remains one of the very best states for drivers when it comes to sheer roads. There may be other issues, but when it comes to roads, California is one of the best states for drivers. Any little squiggle you see on the map, that squiggle is paved. And some of them look like this. I mean, this is unique kind of in the entire nation as far as the way this looks with this road desperately grasping to the terrains, becoming pretty difficult to keep it maintained. Drive it while you can, and drive it in whatever you can. Obviously, we're in this big Z06, and it's wonderful, but rent a convertible, rent a van, I don't care, just get out here. If you can, for a road like this, gather some friends, go on the road together. That can be really cool because then you can just bring the speeds down and just enjoy it.
You gotta put it into perspective here. We're driving on the edge of a continent. It comes down to California because this is the place, despite the traffic and the smog and all the stuff that you think, oh, I don't want to live there because it's roads like this and it's experiences like this on Pacific Coast Highway in your favorite 650 horsepower car, drive on a track and drive on the edge of a continent. you do have to ask yourself, what else would I rather be doing? Does it get better than this?
By encouraging you to come here, I will be honest, I am encouraging you to add yourself to the traffic on this road. Maybe that's a terrible recommendation, but everybody goes to Yosemite and that's traffic filled as well, right? This at least is a driving experience, and you will get those little stolen moments, those little bits where you actually get to drive quickly, especially if you rented the right car. Here's this road, a public road. Yes, there's traffic. Yes, you have to get a little bit lucky for that traffic being light enough for you to actually drive it and enjoy it as intended. But there's no charge to be on this road, and the charge to be on Laguna Seca, one of the best tracks in the world, isn't very much, and it's fairly accessible. It's right here in the middle of a great surrounding. Most racetracks are near nothing. They're in terrible locations. Here's Laguna Seca next to very high-class real estate with views of the ocean. How often do you find that? Every now and then people are nice and let you by. Look at that.
It's when you break through the trees and the ocean opens up, the view opens up. Oh, how glorious is this?